Okay, let me take a moment to get set up here. Hi, everyone. My name is Will, and I'm going to be doing some free live tarot readings today. Let's start by lighting a little candle. And I will burn some Palo Santo. Let's get some fire and smoke going. There we go. Okay, and I'll just place that next to my candle while I wait for it to go out. Okay, we've already got a list going in the chat here. So I've got Sob6278. Hello, hello. You'll be first on my list. And then Ans Human, you're next. Welcome to both of you. Today I'm working again with this Gay Marseille Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess. Lately, it's become my go-to deck when reading for others. Hi, Debbie. It is a beautiful deck. I agree. It's very sort of lighthearted and colorful, and I like it. It reads really well. It was also a gift, which I like. And I'm doing very well. I spent the day working, and now I'm ready to think about something else, but I'm good. My day was good. My day was good. I was able to work from home today, which was nice, very comfortable. I got just enough done. Okay. So, why don't we go ahead and get started with some readings? Welcome to anyone who might be new. As I said, my name is Will from the Hermit's Lantern Tarot. I'll do some free readings today. And it's first come, first serve. If you're interested in having a reading, You can check the video description or the pinned chat message for how to request one. And if I put you on the list and then call your name and you're not here, I may need to skip over you and move on to the next person. But I hope to read for as many as I can within the time and energy constraints that I've got here. So, Sob 6278, you were first in line. So, if you would like to post your question, I'd be happy to do a free reading for you. All right. So, we're doing a love reading. How would the universe describe my future husband? All right. So I don't think I've read for you before, Sob 6278. It's possible that I have, but welcome. I'm happy to read for you. And so, what I generally do, it depends on the question, but for most questions, I do an open reading method where I pull three cards and then I see what I get. And sometimes I need to add cards, or sometimes I'll look at the bottom of the deck. It sort of depends. But so for this question, I'll start with three. And those three cards will describe a person who is your future husband. I will say, with a question like this, there's a couple things I'd keep in mind. Number one, every tarot reading is always subject to change because life is subject to change. And so, related to that, number two is that the cards will be describing someone as they are now. But, if you don't meet this person for 5 years, they might be different, right? Because people change. At least to some extent, they do. So, all right, let's see what we get. Oh, good. I'm glad you've subscribed and that I'm getting to read for you now. That's great. Okay. So those are pretty well shuffled. We're going to pull three cards here for Sob 6278 to describe their future husband. Okay, here we go. First card down is the Popess, followed by the Moon, followed by 6 Wands. And if you see, the Popess is looking to the left, so I think I'm going to pull another card in a moment to see what the Popess is looking at. So I think this is someone who is intellectual, someone who's a reader, and someone who might also be a writer. Yeah. And I say that, of course, because of the way the Popess always has their or her secret book, right? And so this card isn't discussing the gender of this person, but it's indicating the function, like what this person does. So I think they're probably intellectual. They're a reader, they're a writer, they're interested in gaining access to knowledge that not everybody has access to, right? And so they're willing to invest themselves, put themselves into putting the effort into reading and understanding things that interest them, which other people may have no interest in. Yeah. That would be one of the key points there is they also may have some kind of obscure or sort of weird interests that other people don't care about or that don't necessarily recognize as valid interests, right? So maybe a little bit of quirkiness or nerdiness there too is a possibility. It's also possible with the Popes that they may be kind of quiet. Yeah, quiet and reserved. So the Popes is not someone who goes around with a megaphone blaring their ideas to everybody. This is someone who likely knows when it's a good idea to sort of keep their mouth closed, keep their mouth shut, uh, and also knows, one hopes, when to speak up, but might be a little bit reserved or shy about that. And so it may be a little hard to get to know this person, right? They may not immediately quickly open up, and so you might have to stick with it a little bit. Um, Something else we can say about this card is it can designate people who have their own kind of secret language, right? So um, this may be someone where you have to, in order to get to know them, you may need to put in some effort to kind of learn their own secret language, metaphorically speaking. Like learn how to engage with the things that they find interesting, even if it feels like you have to sort of learn another language to do that, right? So we do see the moon here in the center of the spread. And so we're thinking about sort of who this person is now in time. And so the moon could indicate that they have currently some maybe a little depression, maybe a little bit of trying to see things clearly and struggling a little bit to do that, right? Think of it this way: if the this figure, the Pope S, is trying to read in the dark, they would struggle to do that, right? It would be a struggle to do that. Um, so they might be sort of challenged right now to deal with some inner conflicts that are coming up. One way of putting this might be to say that there might be some message from their unconscious that they don't understand yet, and this person is um, struggling to decipher it, right? To decipher that message. I think the moon is something everybody goes through at one time or another, and generally we're better off for it, but it can be a struggle to understand what is this thing that is pulling us, that is influencing us. Think of the way that the gravity of the moon pulls the sea on the ocean on planet Earth and like tugs at it, right? And like moves it. It's invisible, and um, we don't always understand like where it's coming from, or didn't always understand how that works and where it's coming from. The last card here, interestingly, can also the Six of Wands can also refer in the Marseille Tarot um, to someone who does research, and I bring that up again because we've got the second triumph card here, the Pope S here. And so with sixes, I read those as paths or ways of doing things. And when it's the six of batons, this I read as sometimes needing to go back in order to go forward. And so that's why I say research, like going back to figure out um, what kind of knowledge there is from the past in order to build correctly, build the right way moving forward. So it could be someone who's doing research. More generally, it could just be someone who's on a practical path with like work. Uh, because I think of this suit, the batons, as the suit of work. You know, you build things with batons, you have to compete with them, you work with others with them. So, someone who's on a career path and working at that career. Um, so I did say I'd pull another card to see what the Popes is looking at. So let me do that. It's the King of Swords right there. Okay, so um, at this moment in time, this person may currently be presented with someone who is challenging them, someone who is challenging them, and who um, will likely present them with something they need to struggle with. That might be what our moon situation is here. The first thing that comes to mind would be like a student. This could be someone who's studying because so much of this has to do with um, sort of living an intellectual life. And so someone who's studying, and this could be like a professor. King of Swords could be a professor who's really making this person challenging this person, not necessarily in a bad way, but the King of Swords is not at all flexible. And so if your I don't know, interpretation of a book or the speed at which you are doing the assignments is not up to the standards that the King of Swords dictates, they don't cut you any slack, right? The King of Swords, all they have to work with is their sword, and so they'll they're ready to chop off your head, and that could be causing some of the moon stuff, right? So it could be that right now this person is a student who's studying and working really hard on the path towards advancing, but they've got someone in their life who's really pushing them and really challenging them, which is, can be a struggle. Challenges are good, but the King of Swords doesn't always know when the challenge is too much for others, and they can be a little bit of a tyrant. Yeah. So to go back to your question and answer your question, what is this person like? I think you can expect that when you do eventually meet this person, that they'll be intellectual, reserved, maybe kind of quirky, maybe a little nerdy, right? Like speaks their own language a little bit, and they are someone who will have been tested by the um, social situation or university situation or their life situation will have challenged and tested them, which means they'll understand what it's like when the night falls. Yeah. But then they also understand the work that needs to be done to sort of get back to the daylight. That might be a way to put it. Um, Yeah, so I think that's it. I think that's what I see there. Someone who has those qualities, and everybody has their own personality, and some personalities fit and some don't. This is the kind of person who would definitely fit well with my personality, right? And you did say in the chat that you like intellectual people, so sounds like that might be a really good fit for you too. So let me take a peek at the chat here and see what we've got. So, Fabi, I'll add you. And Sunshine Pattern, I'm adding you to the list. And Laureen, I'm adding you. And Adina, I'm adding you. We've got a great little list started here. You're welcome, Sob6278. I'm glad you heard that description and and you're like, "Ooh, I look forward to this." It's great. So here's my list at the moment. I've got next will be Anne's Human, who's already posted their question. then Fabi, Sunshine Pattern, Laureen, and then Adina. So there's my list. And just to repeat or reiterate, I'll go in this order. And then if I get to you and you're not here, I may need to skip over you, though I may have time to go back depending on what happens. So, Fabi, you don't need to post your question yet. If you wait, I'll have an easier time finding it when I get to you. Okay, so let me pick these cards up. And then next up, we have Anne's Human. And Anne's Human's question is, what is my current energy in regards with the energy of Yoshita, the Sagittarius? Okay, let me shuffle these. And we have read about Yoshita before. And if I remember right, this is a long distance relationship. And so Anne's Human wants to know what their current energy is towards Yoshita. So with a question like this, there's sort of two ways it can go, I think. On the one hand, this could end up just validating what you already know, which is fine. You know, that the cards do that for me a lot too. But sometimes, and maybe more valuably, they'll tell us something we don't necessarily know or don't necessarily want to acknowledge. That happens too sometimes. So we'll just see what we get. And this is for this question, I think it will be good to just do a 3-card spread. And if we need to add more cards, of course we can. So what is Anne's Human's energy toward Yoshita at the moment? Oh, you want to do Yoshita's energy towards you. Okay. Thanks for clarifying. So what is Yoshita's energy towards you? Okay. I'm glad you clarified because, as you know by now, I do think the more precise our question is, the more precise the answer can be. Okay, so 3 cards to start. Okay, the Tower. Three Cups. Okay, and the Hanged One. So a succinct way of putting this would be something like, she feels like you're throwing a party in a house that's on fire, but the situation can't be helped. So let me unpack that. The tower is a structure, a building, can be a house, can be a hospital, can be a prison. In this case, it's sort of metaphorically the house of your relationship, right? And I know, if I'm remembering correctly, There's geographic distance between the two of you, and so that's sort of why I think it's on fire, right? It's like the tower's ready to fall down, that kind of a thing. But Three Cups, there's um, a growing closeness, a growing emotional connection. Yeah. And so that's why I say it's like there's a little party in like a little house party, but the house is on fire. Uh, and the sense of growing closeness um, is complicated by the fact that um, the the tower has been struck by lightning or flames from above or whatever we want to call this. In this deck, it's like a very colorful fire. In others, it's more just red and orange. So, a little of both sides of that. There's a kind of great upheaval in the relationship, but also a growing sense of being fulfilled or close, or a growing heart might be a way to put it. And with the Hanged One, the Hanged One doesn't have any agency, like, doesn't have the ability to do anything about this situation. Like, the situation can't be helped. Um, there this card is about stasis as opposed to movement, right? This person is not currently going anywhere. Uh, they're they're kind of stuck, and it's a situation that, unfortunately, at least for now, can't be helped. And so it's sort of it's sort of what I think we already know. The little bit that I know about the situation is like there is some affection there, right? Three cups, but surrounded by the tower, which is feels like it's rickety and gonna fall, and a lack of ability to do something that would change the situation in some way. So that's sort of her energy towards you guys at the moment. Um, there's good and there's bad, but sort of that complicated situation, her energy towards it at the moment is there's sort of nothing to be done, nothing that can be done, um, at least as of this moment, about the situation. So that's what I would say. There is good feeling there. Um, but there are contradictions in the relationship as well. Let's see what we've got. Next up would be Fabi. And I'm not seeing anything happen in the chat, so I'm a little worried it's like frozen or something. But maybe everybody just had to step away. So Fabi is next. If Fabi is here, I'm trying to do better about keeping a list that is neat enough that others can read. Although I don't know if anyone can read cursive nowadays. I always write in cursive, almost always. So Ans Human, if you're here, Ans Human, if you're here, I suspect that maybe kind of confirms what you already know, but that's what the cards are giving us today. Okay, so if Fabi is here, I'll do their reading. Otherwise, sunshine pattern. Fabi is next, and then sunshine pattern. Here's my list. Hi, Mila. I've added you to the list. Okay, so next we have Fabi, then sunshine pattern. Are either of them here? Okay, if not, then what about Laureen or Adina? I'll give Laureen or Adina a moment. Okay, well, Mila, you came at the right time, it sounds like. So, Mila, if you'd like to post a question. I think you were on my list yesterday or recently, and then I wasn't able to read for you. I think I skipped over you, which is okay. I understand that happens. And welcome to anyone who might be joining. My name is Will of the Hermit's Lantern Tarot. I'm doing some free live readings today. If you're interested in a reading, check out the video description or the pinned chat message to see how to get added to the list. I'll take requests on a first come, first served basis. And if I get to you and you're not here, I may need to skip over you and move on to the next person. But if time permits, I may be able to go back and read for you. So I am ready for the next question. And I'm not sure, Mila, if you'd like to post yours, you can. If otherwise, we can go back. I've got 5 on the list. I'm not sure who might be here. So at this point, anyone who's on the list, whoever posts your question first, that's who I'm reading for next. So Fabi, Sunshine Pattern. Here we go. I think I have, yes. All right, Mila. I have Mila's question. So I'm reading for Mila. Okay, hi Mila. So, will Zine contact Bushra soon? Okay. And are one of these people you, Zine? I guess, are you Bushra? Yes, you are Bushra. Okay. And then why don't we put a time limit? Should we say within a week? Does that seem about right? Or a month? We could also do, you said soon, so probably no longer than a month. Okay. And I was going to ask for some context about the relationship, but I don't know that I really need it to know if the person's going to try to make contact. So I don't think I need it. So I'll lay 3 cards, and we're going to see if you can expect a crush. Got it. We're going to see if you can expect to be contacted by this person within the next month. All right, here we go. 3 cards, 10 cups, Queen of Cups, and 10 batons. Well, the cards that I would expect to see in someone reaching out or making contact, I don't see. So, like a number of the coins cards, any of the pages, 2 of coins in particular, any of the page cards, which indicate it. Judgment as a call would indicate it. So I'm not seeing any of those cards. And so my initial answer to the question is I don't think so. I don't think that they are going to be the one who reaches out to make contact. Um, what I do see here is the Queen of Cups, who I think is representing you, right? And so, the way the question is phrased, will this other person, Zine, make contact? So we're thinking about things from their perspective, right? And so, in a sense, this is giving us some insight into what their perspective is on you and whether that perspective is conducive to them reaching out, right? Making contact. And so they're kind of seeing you as someone who's in a really good place, is really happy, right? Like they see you looking at these 10 cups, which is all about happiness and the completion of a successful emotional project. And we see behind you the 10 wands or batons, which in this context could mean that they think there's like too many people around. So, um, and that might be preventing them, if they have any inclination to make contact, that might be stopping them from doing it, right? Like, you already seem so happy and you're like a queen, right? So maybe you even outrank them depending on how they feel about themselves. And the 10 of batons can mean a kind of oppressive social situation, like too many other people around, and maybe they're embarrassed, right, about other people finding out that they are interested, right? Or the whole situation just seems like too heavy right now, right? So that's some more detail of what I do see here, but the quick answer to your question, I think, is probably not. And I will add that probably if there were swords here, I'd say more definitely not. With the batons ending the string, that gives me a more of a probably as opposed to a definitely. And Sarah, I'm adding you to my list. Okay, so here next on the list, so we had Fabi, Sunshine Pattern, Lorene, and Adina. And then I couldn't get a hold of them, so we moved to Mila. So Sarah, if you're here and want to post your question, I can read for you next. Okay. And you are. So Sarah's next. And so Sarah wants to know about Abedin. Hi, Fabi. So, I'm so sorry to hear that. I can come back to you after Sarah's question. I suspected there might be some technical glitch somewhere because I don't know. It just like the chat just kind of stopped, even though I thought there were people here and everything looked fine on my end, but sometimes that happens. So after I do Sarah's reading, I'll go back to Fabi and the rest of the list and see if other folks were able to get back in. Okay, so Sarah wants to know if Abedin will reach out. And so it's kind of a similar question to the one I just did for Mila about whether that person would make contact. So let's see. I'm looking for the same cards. Hi, Adina. I'm glad you were able to make it in so you can comment. I'll go back to you. There's 4 people on the list that I'll go back to as soon as I finish Sarah's reading. Hey, Bob Hope. Thank you. Thanks for your support. Okay, so for Sarah, will Abedin reach out? And let's put should we do a 1-month timer on this? Because I do find I get the best readings when I put a timer on the question, if timing matters. So let's say will Abedin reach out within a month? Okay, this is for Sarah. Sarah Som. 3 cards. The Pope. The Ace of Batons. And 10 Swords. Let me just look at these for a moment. So the 10 Swords, as I said just a moment ago, doing the reading for Mila, makes me think the answer is no. But there's something else about these first 2 cards. With the Pope, it makes me think that they are like asking for someone's advice, perhaps. Like they're trying to figure out would it be a good idea to contact you or reach out to you? Like there's someone that they trust, who they're trying to get that person's opinion on. It can also be that they feel like they're just kind of going through the motions of life, and they see reaching out to you as a possible opportunity, like a new, um, well, a new branch they could grab, so to speak. So there is a kind of spark there. Or another way to phrase it could be that sort of um, they've got wind of the idea of reaching out, but then something is killing it, right? The 10 of Swords, you can see in this particular deck, the headstone, RIP. This is like it gets slaughtered, right? And it seems to happen fairly quickly because we have the quick movement from 1 to 10, which is as fast as the progression could happen. Two cards right next to each other, and it's the lowest, the ace, and the highest, the 10. And so um, something is killing their their opportunity or their little spark, like someone is pouring, uh, like someone is burying it, right? Someone is, or for some reason, it is getting buried. Their their potential to reach out to you is getting buried or cut off. So the answer I would give is I don't think so, but it does seem like there is some motivation to reach out that is being stifled. Hello, Bella Bella. I'm going to add you to the bottom of the list. And so then I'm going to jump back. I guess there were some technical difficulties for some folks. And so I'm going to jump back to earlier on the list. And so Fabi, if you'd like to post your question, I can read for you next. Ah, all right. Let me take a drink of water. We have a question from Fabi. All right, so Fabi is thinking about Valentine's Day, which is coming up, and wants to know, will G do anything for Fabi on Valentine's Day? And if so, what? And so I assume this is someone you're already dating. Otherwise, we'd sort of have a foregone conclusion here. So let's see. He's a romantic love interest, and we are supposed to meet that day. He flew me out to his country. Oh my. Okay. Okay, let's see. Will G do anything for Fabi on Valentine's Day? And if so, what? Okay, let's see. For Fabi. Will G do anything for Valentine's Day? We're going to pull 3 cards. Judgment. The Moon. 5 Swords. The 5 Swords is concerning, potentially. But Judgment in the I've got to think about that for a moment. But the Judgment in the Moon, the Judgment says that there's going to be something to do with being, like, out in public, right? Like, where there's lots of other people, right? It could be because we see the angel with the trumpet, it could be like a concert. So it could be like music outdoors with lots of people at night. That's one possibility that comes to mind. If it's not specifically that, then you can expect, um, still, I would say something to do with being around the public. So you're like, I wouldn't expect you to be like just indoors at home the whole time. There's something about going out, um, not necessarily going out in a group, but like wherever the two of you go, you're aware there's lots of other people, and maybe it's just noisy if it's not actually a concert or like a music festival or something like that, where there's likely to be sound, right? And at night, of course, because we have the moon, maybe we also have near a body of water with the moon, right? We've got this big pool of water. So you mentioned going to another country. I don't know if it might be somewhere that's near the ocean or a lake or somebody's pool or something like that. Um, but I can imagine it being very romantic under the moonlight. Yeah. The 5 of Swords is tricky here because one possibility is to read this card in terms of getting sick. This is the card that I use for sickness, right? Like some kind of ailment, right? Like, I don't know, you eat too many chocolates or you catch a cold on the plane or something like that. But, that doesn't, I'm not completely satisfied with that because of the way the question is phrased. And the question wasn't what would happen that day, but will he do anything for you? So we're really looking not at like what's going to happen that day randomly, but like what he's sort of planning or hoping to do. So I would instead interpret this 5 of Swords as he might be kind of obsessive about how he is planning everything, because it sounds like this is if he's flying you to his country, it sounds like it's a pretty big deal, right? And so he might sort of be so obsessive or nervous about it that he could kind of be making himself sick a little bit. Does that make sense? Like, um, he's he's so he feels like there's a lot riding on this or a lot weighing on this. And so it's like maybe he's taking it so seriously that like he's gonna get a stomach ache or something like that, right? Or I don't know if you've never met before, um, he might just be very anxious, very nervous to the point of it affecting him physically, right? Yeah, you always get so Fabi says, "I always get sick when I travel, but I hope it's not the case this time." And because we didn't ask, like, what's gonna happen on Valentine's Day, we asked, "What is he planning?" And, I don't think it makes any sense to say he's planning that you will get sick. I don't think that makes any sense, so I wouldn't read it that way. But I do think he could be planning so much that he's maybe getting himself a little, quote unquote, sick. So, the simple and straightforward answer to your question is he planning anything? Yes, definitely. Uh, and what is he planning? I think it's something to do with being outside, maybe somewhere where it's noisy, romantic at night, and maybe near a body of water, right? Like maybe it's dinner where there's lots of other people there and there's a band playing, and then you go for a moonlight stroll on the beach, something like that. And that I think his planning is making him awfully nervous. Okay, so let me pull my list up. That was Fabi's reading. So let's go back through Sunshine Pattern. If you are here, you are my next. You're very welcome, Fabi. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. So if Sunshine Pattern is here, I can read for you. After that, we would have Laureen. If Laureen is here, I can read for you. Sunshine Pattern's here. Great. Hi, Sunshine Pattern. So let's shuffle. And if you'd like to post your question, I will read for you. All right. So Sunshine Pattern has a question about an ex who they're talking to again. And so specifically, the question is, does the Libra want a serious relationship with me? He's my ex, and we are talking again. All right. So we're going to pull 3 cards for Sunshine Pattern, and these cards will give us a little story from his perspective about whether or not he wants a serious relationship as opposed to just hanging around or playing games or something casual. Okay, let's see. For Sunshine Pattern, does the Libra want a serious relationship with Sunshine Pattern? All right, 3 cards. First card is Death. followed by 7 swords, King of Coins, and the King of Coins is looking to the right, so I need another card. Judgment. Okay. Let me just look at these a moment. Let me get a drink of water. Okay, so my interpretation is hinging on the word seriously because, well, let me read these left to right and then maybe we can decide whether it counts as serious or not. So I think he is definitely ready to like put the past behind him. Death, swiping away at the 7 of swords, given that you said that he's an X, I think you probably had some 7 of swords situations in the past. Traditionally, the 7 of swords can be the card representing tears. It's about um, trouble, discontent, sometimes failure. And so seeing death here, uh, next to that card, you can imagine the figure on the death card destroying or cutting away all of these swords. So it's like cut what was bad and get rid of it, right? Chop off the head of the bad stuff that came before. And so that suggests a potentially serious outlook on a relationship towards you. If this is someone who's like sort of ready to start over, right? Like, let's cut away the tears, the bad stuff from before, and let's um, keep going, right? So that's one part of the reading. Then we get these last 2 cards. First, with the King of Coins, which I believe represents him, this Libra person, and the King of Coins likes to be comfortable. The King of Coins isn't necessarily someone who wants to put in work. And so that might be where your idea of serious and his idea of serious might sort of be different, right? The King of Coins, I think, does want to have the relationship with you and does find it valuable. But because the King of Coins is so interested in being comfortable and having, possessing, he's not always ready to like get off of his throne and go do what it takes to sort of earn that value, if that makes sense. And so um, he may be ready to sweep aside the difficulties of the past, but does he understand that relationships require work? Or is he just like, let's sweep away from the past, start with a clean slate, and then let's be comfortable again? But then will he fall into his old ways, if that makes sense? Um, there also may be an element here of him wanting to, because when I see the judgment card, I think of all these people, right? And it's like there's a sense of him wanting to publicly, like for other people to know about it. He doesn't maybe wanna be single. He wants to be in a relationship, and he wants other people to know that he's in a relationship, and that may be some of the motivation behind, um, his desire to be in a relationship, as opposed to someone who's like, "I wanna be in a relationship because I wanna put in the hard work that it takes to get closer to someone," right? And for him, it might be a little more like, "Yeah, I'm ready to be serious," if by serious you mean comfortable where other people can recognize my value because I'm in a serious relationship with someone. Does that make sense? The distinction I'm trying to draw? Um, the other thing we could think of with judgment is in many decks, maybe less obvious in this one, but these three figures are often sort of risen from the dead. And so there could be a sense here of him wanting to sort of metaphorically resurrect the relationship that he'd had with you in the past, like bring it back to life again. So, the way that I would answer your question is from his perspective, I would say I think, yes, he does want a serious relationship. Um, but anytime I read the tarot, I'm always looking for what the difficulty is or the contradiction or the challenge. And here, I think it's that he may want that serious relationship, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he wants it for all the right reasons or that he's prepared to actually build it or put the effort into it. So that's the answer I'd give. Yes, but is my answer to you. Which doesn't mean that he could change, right? Or like if the two of you are on the same page about what a serious relationship means, um, then maybe he could understand that better. But if we're thinking about like in this moment in time, um, he wants to have it more than he wants to build it. And so from your perspective, if when you say serious relationship, you mean does he seriously want to put in the work? Then I don't know, right? If from his perspective, he's like, "Yeah, I want this." But if you're thinking like, "Yeah, but is he going to put in the effort for it?" If that's what you mean by serious, then the two of you may sort of have different interpretations of what the word serious means. Okay, so that was Sunshine Pattern. And so next up, Laureen and Adina. If either of you are here, I can read for you. And then I did notice some folks. Oh, good. Loreen's here. Hi, Loreen. So I'll read for Loreen next, but I want to make sure my list is up to date. So I saw Saretta and the Storytime Kitchen both requested a reading. It wasn't in all caps, but I happened to notice it. So I'm going to add them to the list. Saretta and the Storytime Kitchen. Okay, and then Starry Night. Okay. Yeah, busy tonight. I'm glad. I'm very glad of it. So here's the list, everybody. Laureen and then Adina followed by Bella Bella, Saretta, The Storytime Kitchen, and Starry Night. So Laureen asks, how is Glenn going to react when I tell him I've been with someone else during our breakup? Like, will he care? Will he be nonchalant? Will he be jealous? Okay. All right. So you and this Glenn, Gian. Sorry, I misread it. You and Gian uh, were in a relationship and then you broke up. And during the breakup, you were with someone else. And sounds like you're probably back together or maybe thinking about getting back together with Gian. And so it makes sense then that you would tell Gian that you were with this other person and you want to know, how will he react? Okay, let's see. For Laureen, how is he going to react when you tell him you've been with someone else during the breakup? So we'll pull 3 cards for that and see what we get. Okay, so 3 cups. The Knight of Swords. And 6 coins. So, I'm just thinking about what to do with this guy. Okay, so he's not going to be happy about it. That's no surprise. He's showing up here as the Knight of Swords, and so the Knight of Swords is like a warrior, right? Like charging into battle. So you can expect some anger, perhaps him being upset, and he might react quickly. That's the Knight of Swords is the fastest of the knights, and so they're the kind of person who, or in this moment at that particular circumstance, is the kind of person who might act before they have time to think, right? Like maybe act a little bit recklessly, and so I suspect that at first it's not going to be super welcome news. You can see the knight charging towards the 3 cups, almost like I'm imagining the 3 cups sort of stacked on top of each other, like a little pyramid kind of. And it's sort of like he's charging at them like, I'm going to knock these down, right? And so the initial reaction to it is not good. Almost like he's charging in to attack and knock down the thing that you have started building up again, right? Like an emotional connection is starting to take shape, building up. It's not quite stable where it would be at least a 4, but it's starting to take shape again. You're talking again. We also see the mouths of talking. Uh, and he's like, well, if you were with someone else, then I'm gonna knock it all down, right? But, um, that's not where it ends because we have another card, right? And so even though his initial reaction might be everything I just described, um, this string of 3 cards ends with the 6 of coins. And so this is about, after some time passes, recognizing that there's something valuable there that you 2 can exchange, right? A relationship that you can exchange with one another, and that there is a path forward beyond this feeling of upset that he has in response um, to the news, right? And so the 6 of coins is about a path opening up so that things can move from point A to point B. And coins have to do with things being um, valuable, right? And important. And so um, I think what I'd see here is initially not a super great reaction, but don't necessarily take the way that he reacts immediately as the whole story. And he might even kind of lash out, right? He might I wouldn't say attack, but charge, metaphorically, like charge at you a little bit, probably with his words. Um, but then realize that in doing that, he's moving away from an important, valuable path forward, right? So that's what I'd say. I don't think he's going to be indifferent to it. I think he's gonna. It's gonna upset him a bit. So that he may act without thinking. All right, so yes, Adina is next. If Adina's here, I'm gonna add Florisol. And I'm going to add XRA. Thank you, Lorene. You're very welcome. I appreciate the compliment. All right, so Adina, if you are here and would like to post your question, I can read for Adina. Hi, Jenna. And Adina's here. Cool. And so, Jenna, I'll add you to the bottom of the list. So our list is pretty long, everyone, but we've got Adina's next, and then Bella, Saretta, The Storytime Kitchen, Starry Night, Florisol, XRA, and Jenna. And yes, Storytime Kitchen, you're on there. You're you're 4th on the list right now. You're welcome, Storytime Kitchen. Okay, here's Adina's question. Okay. So Adina asks, I am soon going to spend 2 weeks with my ex. We are talking again after last year we had a fallout. How will he feel about me by the next time he sees me in person and during the time we will spend together? Okay. So, how will Adina's ex feel about her the next time he sees her in person and during the time you will spend together? Okay, so we're going to pull 3 cards. We're thinking about this from his perspective. How will he feel? Okay. Ooh. I've got wax falling on my divination cloth. That's unfortunate. Okay, so King of Swords. 2 cups. And the World. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Just a minute. This candle's out of control. Okay. I'm hoping this wax will dry and I can just pull it right up. But okay, so let's get back to yeah, maybe there is there's a book by Yoav Ben Dov called Tarot: The Open Reading, and he says that everything that happens in a tarot reading is a sign. It all means it all means something. It is kind of a heart, isn't it? I won't touch it because I think it's still okay. So let's look at the cards too. King of Swords, 2 cups, and the World. So I would read him as the King of Swords and you as the World, and between you we have 2 cups. That's pretty self-explanatory. Like he's going to feel like there is great potential for a partnership again, right? The 2 of you coming together as a pair, right? And their cups. So it's something that would be emotionally fulfilling, deep, um, like meaningful, right? Uh, for those of you who have been with me for a while, you know that whenever I'm reading, I'm looking uh, to, of course, answer the question, but especially when there's an obvious answer, I'm always looking to see in what way might it be complicated. And so the obvious answer to the question is he is going to see the 2 of you pairing up again, right? If we want to dig into it a little bit more, uh, here are some things that I could notice. He's showing up here as the King of Swords. And so, King of Swords showed up earlier today too. So I'm repeating myself a bit, but I know not everybody was here. So, King of Swords is someone who can be kind of inflexible and can sort of pose challenges, but the King of Swords is also someone who's ready to fight, right? That's what we do with a sword is we fight, we keep order. We also defend and protect, right? And he sees you in terms of the world, which is someone who is very self-reliant, who can take care of themselves. Like, he may get the sense that you do not need him, right? That you can take care of yourself and that you have a support system of other figures, people, or whatever they might be, pets even, uh, that you have a support system that indicates that you can take care of yourself. And so he might feel a little bit like he needs to fight to break through your circle and get to you, if that makes sense. And so you may find that there's something a little um, aggressive or belligerent or defensive in the way that he's interacting. And I think that the motivation behind that is like he might think you're above him a little bit, right? Because the figure on the world card has is like sort of flying in the air. Doesn't have to stand on the ground like everybody else, whereas the King of Swords is sitting. Sure, they're in their throne, and that's all fine and dandy, but they're down on the ground. The figure in the world is above it all, right? And so he may feel a sense of needing to pull that sword out and like cut through to get to you so that this pairing can happen. Um, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But it is something to keep in mind as you get together with this person again that um, he may feel the need to exert himself in a kind of potentially forceful way, right? Because how else is he going to sort of penetrate um, your 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 circle, so to speak? The other thing I would add, because I think you're totally right, that the candle spilling over does mean something. And so seeing the 2 cups here and the candle spilling over, I'm thinking like, "Your cup runneth over." Like, there's a great sense of something being a lot of, things being fulfilling or nourishing, right? Like, the cups, I think, will be full. A feeling from his perspective that the cups will be full, and then that he may need to fight to maintain that. Okay, so here's the list, which means Bella Bella would be next, followed by Saretta and the Storytime Kitchen. You're welcome, Adina. I hope everything works out for the two of you. So Bella wants to know. Oh, thank you for the compliment on my handwriting. I appreciate that. I do a lot of journaling by hand. And I just get a personal satisfaction out of it. So Bella wants to know, will I hear from Z? And so let's put a timer on this for the sake of accuracy. Should we say within a month? Bella, does that make sense? And okay, so will Bella hear from Z within about a month's time? Okay. Will Bella hear from Z within about a month's time? We'll pull 3 cards. Judgment. 7 cups and the Page of Cups. So yes, there are 2 cards. The Judgment and the Page of Cups would both indicate to me, with Judgment, a call, right? It doesn't have to be an actual phone call, but it could, nowadays it could be like a text or something. But then the pages represent messengers, right? And a Page of Cups can be a love message, right? And you didn't specify that we're talking about love, so it could just be a good message. But pretty clearly, this is saying that yes, you're going to hear something from this person within the 1 month time frame that we put on the question. There is in the middle the 7 cups indicating a discontent heart or uneasy feelings, something to do with an obstacle in their emotional path, like there's something they're feeling that is making them uncomfortable, and that is gonna play into the message, but I don't see it preventing them from, uh, taking the initiative to reach out, right? It's like with Judgment, they may be getting ready to call or reach out, and then they feel uneasy about it, but then they do it anyway. Yeah. So that's a pretty straightforward one, but short answer to your question is yes. You're welcome, Bella Bella. I hope it turns out the way you're hoping. So Saretta, if Saretta is here, Saretta is next. And then after Saretta, the Storytime Kitchen. Okay, so Saretta, if you're here, I'll read for you. Otherwise, if the Storytime Kitchen is here, I'll read for you. And if neither of them are here, I'll read for Starry Night. Sometimes people pop in and out. So Starry Night's here, so I'm going to read for Starry Night. I like your question, Starry Night. Starry Night wants to know, what actions will make me victorious over the current and forthcoming bull happening in my life? Okay. So it's sort of like, how do I shovel the BS that I know is coming my way? I know also earlier today, some folks were having some technical difficulties where, like, they were here but couldn't post in the comments for some reason. It looked fine from my side, but more than one person. So, and I also get that, I've been going for an hour and 45 minutes. And so people have, you might be at work or you have other obligations. Okay, so Starry Night. What actions will make me victorious over the current and forthcoming bull happen in my life? So I might use a different spread here. I'm still going to start with 3 cards, but I might put a twist on it. Okay. Here we go. Okay, 9 cups. The the Popess, 4 cups. Okay, so the first thing that I'm seeing is with the Popess, a couple things to say about this. Number 1, sometimes it's a good idea to keep your mouth shut. uh, I don't know you, I don't know what circumstance you're talking about, but the Popess always knows when to not speak up, right? Just because she knows something doesn't mean she's going to share that information with other people. And so here I might say, like, it might make sense for you to kind of stay tight lipped about things, whatever this situation is that you're anticipating happening. It's not the Empress. It would be the High Priestess in a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the High Priestess. Yeah, so, number 1, you know, be tight-lipped about things. If you have a secret and other people don't know it, then maybe you just stay quiet about that. Because if we read that in context of the other 2 cards, um, it's like you're facing a situation where there's a kind of decrease of happiness. It still turns out fine. We're still ending up with 4 cups, which is, uh, stability, right? And a sense of comfort, right? The 4 of cups in this style of deck can mean like, your couch or bed or pillow, like somewhere where you're comfortable. That's something else I could add to it, which is like find ways in which you can maintain your own personal comfort, even if you are having to wade through a bunch of BS all day. Uh, the other thing, besides the Popess just sort of keeping a secret if she needs to or being tight lipped about things, is see how she's not wearing armor, but she's covered up, right? We see her hands and we see her face, but she doesn't reveal much about herself. And then, of course, there's the veil, the sort of backdrop behind her, the blue veil with the stars on it. Um, that indicates she's sort of not showing you everything that she knows or that she has or that she is. And, she's not the star, for example, where we can see everything, right? She's sort of covered up, metaphorically speaking. The other thing I could say is she has a book, and so she's sort of done her research. She's read into the situation, maybe not actually read a book about it, but depending on what your situation is, if there is a book about it that could help you, then that might be advice. But more metaphorically, it could be like she's reading the situation. Or if you read tarot cards, maybe she's reading her tarot cards. That's a possibility too. Uh, she's reading the situation so that she has the knowledge that she needs to overcome it or at the very least endure it. Uh, so I think I can um, let's see, it's actually multiple things brought in by dark magic. Ah, well, it could be a spell book. So maybe she's reading about how to counteract the dark magic that she's facing, right? Because so if the dark magic, in other words, is decreasing her 9 cups down to 4, maybe it stops at 4 as opposed to turning into swords or whatever it might be. the Tower, something like that. Maybe her use of this book, her use of her magic book, so to speak, uh, doesn't stop the dark magic, but it does slow it down so that it can only do so much harm. I think what I'd like to do for this particular reading is place two more cards to make a cross, and I'm going to place one above the center card and one below it. And the one above will be the do this card, and the one below will be the don't do that card. Okay. So do be the Knight of Cups. Do not be the Knight of Swords. Okay. Well, that's pretty clear. Uh, they're both knights. They're both facing the same direction, but one has a cup and one has a sword. You want to offer your cup as opposed to charging into battle with your sword drawn, right? So this could be a peace offering. Again, I don't know this circumstance, but the Knight of Cups has that. Oh, you can't see it. My bad. The Knight of Cups has that cup held up, like they're ready to offer it out to someone. Like they've got something sweet in that cup, or at least it looks sweet. Kill them with kindness is a phrase that comes to mind here, as opposed to if your enemies see you charging quickly at them with sword drawn, then they are going to prepare for that, and they are going to draw their swords too. But if they see you coming at them with a cup, they might let their guard down, right? Maybe it's a Trojan horse kind of situation where maybe the cup looks like a gift and it's actually a trick. Although I don't see the magician or the seven of swords anywhere in here, so um, not necessarily that kind of thing. But another way to think about these two cards would be in terms of speed. The Knight of Cups is much slower than the Knight of Swords, and so slow down. Be careful with your speed. Don't charge in at full speed to this BS that you have to wade through. Um, go at a more moderate pace. If it was the Knight of Coins, I'd say go as slow as possible. But it's not the Knight of Coins, it's the Knight of Cups. So um, go with the flow might be another way of putting it, because cups are water. And of course, we see water in the image there too. So I could also say, like, stay hydrated if that applies at all to your situation, right? Okay, let me look at the chat here. The name of the deck is the Gay Marseille Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess, and the website is thewordwitchtarot.com. Thewordwitchtarot.com. Yeah, and it comes, I don't have it with me here, but it comes with a little drawstring bag, in addition to this tuck box. Okay, let's see. So Starry Night asks, so it looks like things will decrease for the worse. I think so. You are rightly noting the decrease from Nine of Cups to Four of Cups, and um, Cups is the wish card. Nine of Cups is things changing for the better, uh, and those nine are dwindling down a bit to just four. So it's not like the card over here is like the Seven of Swords or any swords at all. It's just fewer cups than you had in the past. And so it's almost like if you sort of play your cards right, so to speak. I think that the troubles you have coming towards you that you're anticipating uh, will not be so bad, right? Like it's not like you've got a tower over here, or maybe death, or any of the swords cards or anything like that. It's like this is a card where you're still comfortable. That's how I would read it. Things are still okay, you know. Let's see. Does someone know? Okay, the deck I'm using. Yeah, so won't get my wish, but less than. Um, I mean, the specific question we asked wasn't necessarily about whether you'd get the wish. Um, it was about how to like what's the best way for you to deal with the BS, I think as we put it, that you have coming at you. And so those I'd say are the best things you can do, and you'll still end up in a comfortable, stable kind of situation, assuming that um, you follow the advice of the Popess and the Knight of Cups as opposed to the Knight of Swords. Yeah, it's not the Tower, it's not death, it's not even the Hanged Man or anything like that. It's like, um, the Four of Cups is emotional stability, is the home, is comfort. Um, yeah. All right, so let's look at my list. So that was Starry Night. Okay, so we've got Saretta and then the Storytime Kitchen, if either of you are here, and then Florisol would be next. Oh, thanks. I just clip my nails. There's nothing nothing fancy. I have had a manicure before, but not lately. Okay, here's Florisol. So we'll read for Florisol. Will A return back to his workplace? Is his absence temporary? Interesting. Okay, so this is someone. Um, well, not you. You don't necessarily work with this person, but it's someone you know. A has left his workplace, and you want to know: is this a permanent leave, or is this person coming back after some period of time? Okay, and so we're going to read this from this person A, from their perspective, meaning this is what they believe is happening. You're welcome, Starry Night. Okay. So will A return back to his workplace? Is his absence temporary? Here we go. 3 cards. Ace of Swords, Knight of Coins, 2 Swords. I mean, this aces are something new. It's a new beginning. And so this suggests to me he's got a new fight, so to speak, severing ties with the old to pick up something new, and then showing up as the Knight of Coins, slowly and steadily, um, taking action, moving forward, chasing those coins as we do. Uh, and maybe with 2 swords after, there's a lot of slowness here. Knight of Coins is the slowest knight, and the movement from 1 to just 2 swords is a very slow movement. Uh, so, this says to me something new is coming along as opposed to going back to something from before. I'm just taking a peek at it again. I'm just looking at it again to see what else I might notice. With the swords, you can think about what we do with swords. The function of a sword is to fight or to defend. And so, picking up the sword, you can cut things, sever away something old in order to start with the new, plod along slowly, making slow and steady progress. Uh, there's like a need to be defensive, a need to put up a fence around the flower, so to speak, like whatever it is that this person is trying to nurture or grow, um, a feeling of a need to defend it. And so the answer I'd give to the question is I don't think it's a temporary absence. I think this is going off to sort of a new fight, so to speak, as opposed to going back. That's the other thing is that the Knight of Coins faces to the right, which is the future, like moving on to something new as opposed to looking to the left, going back to something old. So the way I'd answer the question is I don't think it's a temporary absence. I think this person is preparing for some new battle, some new fight that they're going to get involved in. Um, I don't think there's any returning here. I can look at the bottom of the deck if we want to get. So bottom of the deck is Justice. And Justice is about assessing things methodically and again, slowly weighing the pros and cons in order to make the right decision for oneself. I don't see anything in here that would indicate going back. Everything is it's slow. Everything is very slow, but it is moving to the future. It is moving forward, like to something new, especially with the ace, as opposed to moving back. And again, this is what this person believes, right? This is what he thinks. So maybe what he thinks is wrong, right? But um, I don't see that there's a plan in any serious way to go back. Okay, so here is my list. Saretta, the Storytime Kitchen, XRA, and Jenna. And I saw Stormborn requested. So I added you, Stormborn. Okay, so Storytime Kitchen is here. So let's read for Storytime Kitchen. I have got to blow this candle out because the wax is falling again. So, candles out. So, Storytime Kitchen, you can post your question. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so Storytime Kitchen says, is this person telling me the truth about being in another relationship, or are they exaggerating to make themselves seem important? Okay, you're welcome. So I'll pull 3 cards, and we want to know, is this person actually in a relationship or just saying that they're in a relationship? Okay. Is this person telling me the truth about being in another relationship, or are they exaggerating to make themselves seem important? Here we go. 3 cards, 3 swords, Knight of Wands, Page of Cups. So, seeing 2 court cards that are looking at one another does suggest to me um, a relationship, right? Um, if they were facing different directions, things might be different. But there are 2 people, and they are looking each other, or at least in each other's direction, and so that suggests to me that yes, the person is actually in a relationship. Um, the 3 of Swords is interesting to see there because it indicates when I read left to right, I think in terms of causality. And so it's almost like the relationship is caused by what the 3 of Swords represents. And traditionally, one of the meanings for 3 of Swords is loss. And so I might read this as saying, yes, this person is in a relationship, but they've deliberately gotten into a relationship like as a rebound kind of thing after a loss. There's a void in their life. And so, in response to that, they have sort of hurried along to, and Knights of Wands are fairly quick, not as fast as the swords, but just under that, um, to the point where the Knight of Wands, the horse faces sort of one direction, but then he's looking back the other way. So sometimes with the Knight of Wands, he doesn't know where he's going, right? He's going somewhere, but does he know where he's going and is it the right way? Um, and so that's why I'm getting like rebound relationship kind of vibes here, like um, finding a relationship to sort of fill the void, that kind of thing. So I don't see tricks or lying, like making it up. That would be if I saw like the Magician, the Seven of Swords, the High Priestess might indicate keeping a secret, and so maybe that's not telling the whole truth, that kind of thing. Um, or if I didn't see any court cards, but 2 court cards facing each other says relationship to me. So Saretta, if you are here, and then XRA, if you are here, you 2 would be next. Cool, XRA is here. So next we're gonna do XRA, followed by you, Jenna, followed by Stormborn. And then, oh, no worries if you had to restart it. And then let's see. Jas Ziggy Pie, I'll add you. And then I think I'm going to close the list because I'm already at over 2 hours and we'll need to wrap it up. Okay, so XRA wants to know what Z's feelings are towards them. Is he thinking about me? Okay. Okay. So XRA wants to know Z's feelings towards them. Is he thinking about you? Okay, here we go. 3 cards. The Devil. 9 cups. 10 cups. So the Devil in the context of this question pretty clearly indicates to me that this person cannot help but think about you, right? Like they're chained to you almost. They might be ambivalent about it, but they cannot help themselves, right? So the quick answer to your question is yes. I think this person is thinking about you, whether they want to or not. They can't help it. The 9 and 10 of cups coming afterwards. Obviously, cups indicate feelings of love, or at least tenderness, or something fulfilling, something emotionally fulfilling. And we've got as many as we could get in these 2 positions. So yes, I think they're thinking about you and they can't help themselves. And there's a lot of feelings that are there, and they're even slowly increasing from 9 to 10. It's as though with the Devil, they're like enthralled. Chained, enthralled, stuck, bound. They can't help themselves. The other thing we could say about the devil is they can't help but think about you, and there's all of this emotion, all of these cups. Um, and, the devil is very enticing, right? Um, but if they're thinking about you in terms of the devil, they also may not be sure that you're good for them, right? But they can't help themselves anyways. So I'm going to have to stick to one question per person today because I saw you posted another question in the chat. But in a future live stream, I could answer another question for you. So next on my list, I have Jenna. If Jenna's here, it's Jenna Stormborn and Jazz Ziggy Pie. Cool. And here's Jenna's question. So Jenna wants to know, what is the energy around how things will go with Zach this weekend? And does this bring us closer to becoming officially boyfriend and girlfriend? I'm a Virgo, he's a Gemini. We're physically exclusive. Okay. So someone you are dating and you're going to spend some time together this weekend. Will this bring you closer? Okay. And Jenna adds, I've been seeing him every Saturday. It'll be 4 weeks now. We've been talking since December 19th as well. Okay. So how will things go? What is the energy around how things will go with Zach this weekend? Does it bring the two of them closer? All right, we'll start with 3 cards. The Fool, the World, and the Knight of Cups. So, interesting cards. The short answer to the question, I'd say, is that yes, it does bring you closer. You asked what the energy around this weekend would be, and the first card up is the Fool. And so, maybe you've heard the phrase, "Love makes fools of us all." um, which is really sweet, I think, to think about that you might feel kind of foolish, but I think potentially in a good way, right? With the Fool, it's like there's no agenda, there's no, um, expectation for exactly what's gonna happen. Uh, it's carefree. There's it's kind of spontaneous, right? It's like maybe we'll go over here, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do that. It can feel a little risky or uncertain, like you could stumble, you could fall a little bit. Um, but there's nothing to suggest anything bad or dangerous about that with the other cards. I think these 2 cards are showing up to represent, the 2 of you, the second 2. The first card is sort of the energy around the whole weekend, and then we've got the World and the Knight of Cups, and I think you're the World and he's the Knight of Cups, and in a love reading, Knight of Cups is, um, especially at the beginning of a relationship, really good to see because this is the romantic knight in shining armor kind of person, right? Um, there is so, as I said earlier, anytime I'm reading, I'm looking for like, what's the catch? How could we read this from another angle or direction? And so, uh, with you showing up as the World, there could be a sense that um, you're sort of very elevated and he's again down on the ground, right? Knight of Cups is on his horse, but down on the ground. So there could be a little sense of like distance between the two of you and the Knight of Cups making an offering with a hope to sort of bring you down to earth or bring him up to the heavens where you are so that the two of you can sort of break through this shell represented by this wreath surrounding the figure on the world card. Um, but this is all good things, I think, for the beginning of or the early stages of a relationship. I think the answer to your question is pretty definitely yes, that it will bring you closer together and and that it will advance you towards becoming more official in terms of being a couple, right? Let me just look at the chat here. You're going to a cat cafe. Well, there's your cat down here, the lion. There's your cat. And down this, I guess this could be a dog or a cat. No, I guess that's more of a dog, probably. Let's see. So, cat cafe. And he's nervous because he's never been. Yeah, the Knight of Cups can be shy. Yeah. Um, they're not bold like the Knight of Wands. They wear their heart on their sleeve. They're sensitive, the Knight of Cups is. And so, if he's going somewhere he's never been, he could be kinda shy, a little timid, but also the kind who sort of can go with the flow, right? Um, with the water in the cups. Yeah, I mean, I was just reading the chat. You live 45 minutes away from each other. He keeps telling me I need to move closer to him, so I might move in August. Not for him, but just in general because I like his area. Yeah. Yeah, well, I do think that, the weekend you're gonna spend together, you might feel, like you're starting something new, right? The Fool is taking the first step on their new journey, and bringing the 2 of you closer together. Um This can be a process of the 2 of you sort of getting on the same level, so to speak. Oh, his favorite phrase is "Let's go with the flow." Well, that's the Knight of Cups for sure. You can see the water on the card, and the horse and the rider are going with the flow. Yeah. All right. Good. I hope you have a fun weekend. That sounds like it's going to be a really good time. I think you can expect, um, well, have hopes rather than expectations, um, but there's every reason to be hopeful here. Okay, so Stormborn and then Jas Ziggy Pie I have on my list. So Stormborn, if you're here, I can read for you. Okay, interesting. Stormborn wants to know, will I be able to find long-term childcare to be stable? That's a great question. I don't think you're welcome, Storytime Kitchen. I don't think I've ever done a reading on childcare before, so this is good experience for me. Okay, so we want to know if you're going to find childcare so that things will be more stable. Cool. And then Jazz Ziggy Pie will do your question next. So we'll do Stormborn and then Jazz Ziggy Pie. And Stormborn says, I basically would like to be more stable. Got it. I basically would like to be more stable. I'd like to find somebody committed so I can perhaps go to school or start living a little bit. So it sounds like you, Stormborn, you're probably doing the childcare duties. And you want to know, is it possible to find someone who could take those over for you so that you could have other opportunities? And so I do think we should put a timer on this. Just within 3 months sound right to you? Got it. You're a single mom with 3 kids, and so you just need help. Yeah. Oh, I see. So like you've got I get it. So you have someone now who's taking care of the kids, but you suspect like they're not going to last. Okay. So let's say like within the near future, are you going to find a person or a situation of some kind that will provide stable long-term childcare? Cool. Within 2 to 3 months. Okay. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay. Three cards. All right. 10 cups, the tower, and 6 swords. Well, we definitely didn't want to see the tower. And 6 swords isn't too happy either, at least in this particular context. So, like the quick answer to the question I'd give is I don't think so. Because we'll talk about the 10 of Cups in a minute, but the Tower, of course, um, is, the house is on fire, metaphorically speaking, right? And it's ready to fall over. This can be about trouble, disasters, accidents, but in your particular case, the tower is not stable, and stable was a key part of your question, right? You wanted to know if it would be stable long term, and um, the tower is notoriously built in an unstable way, like it has no foundation, and that's why it sort of plops over. Uh, the 6 of Swords is a challenging path, might be a way to put it. Uh, while 6s are symmetrical and can indicate harmony with the swords, um, swords are about having to fight, and swords are about what do we use swords for? We use them to like go to war. We use them to attack and defend. They're not about um, comfort or necessarily stability, unless it was maybe a 4. But even then, I don't know that I'd want to see that as the last one. Um, so unfortunately, I don't think I can give a resounding yes to your question within the time frame we listed, which was 2 to 3 months. I do want to say that with the 10 of Cups here, there is a sense that um, there's a lot of love, right? The cups are love, they're hearts, and 10 is the most that you could have. And so, um, while I know I'm not giving you the answer that you want to hear, um, the saving grace, I think, of the situation is that everything here is based in um, a great sense of love. I'm always sorry when I know I'm giving a response that I know the person doesn't want to hear, but I always go back to the idea of like being nice versus being kind, and being nice might be just telling someone what they want to hear, but is that kind? And um, I don't think it is. So um, I will also add that every tarot reading is always subject to change because life is subject to change. Everything in life is subject to change. The law of impermanence, nothing is forever. And so um, there could be events that happen which change the situation and would change the outcome of the reading. But as of right here, right now, in this context, that is the answer I'd give. Um, I mean, I think the 10 cups could indicate fun. Stormborn says nothing fun. Um, Anytime 9 or 10 cups come up in a reading, I think that's, it always depends on the context of the question. But I do think that it's 99% of the time something good to see, right? And so, um, but I wouldn't say that it's answering the specific question you asked about long-term, stable childcare. I don't think that it's saying giving a yes to that. But it's not like you've got all swords and the tower, right? There are swords, and we do have the tower, but we've also got these 10 cups, which represent um, a fullness, a completion, um, the biggest possible quantity of um, emotional satisfaction and love. Okay, so I think earlier, let's see, Jazz Ziggy Pie posted their question already, so let me get to it. You're welcome, Stormborn. Stormborn also says we're trying to stay strong and loving to each other, and that's clearly indicated here with the 10 of cups, right? Like, even if things are unstable, there's a lot of love. Okay, so Jazz Ziggy Pie wants to know, if I ask my boss to add me back to the original schedule for 20 hours, will I get it? Or is it just time to leave my job? Okay, let me think for a minute about how I want to do this. Because I can think of two ways to approach this. One would be specifically about, are you going to get the 20 hours if you ask for them? And for that, I would do a 3-card reading. But the other way to approach this is, should you keep your job or attempt to keep your job, or should you just go ahead and leave the job? And for that, I would pull 3 cards for each path forward. So why don't we do that? The first 3 cards down will indicate the outcome if you ask for the 20 hours and attempt to get back on the schedule. And the second 3 cards will indicate what's likely to happen if you just go ahead and leave that job. So 3 cards for each possible scenario. I do this a lot for myself when I'm trying to make decisions. I can do this or I can do that. I pull 3 cards for each choice. Okay. All right. They cut everybody's hours back after the holiday season, but I'm only getting 2 or 3 days of work. Yeah, that's not enough. Okay, so first 3 cards are for asking for the 20 hours, trying to um, get things going again. At the current position, Knight of Coins, Temperance, the Pope. And the Pope is looking at something, so I'm going to add another card. 6 Swords. All right, so this is scenario 1. Why don't I lay out the second scenario and then we'll compare them. Scenario 2 is just going ahead and leaving this job. 8 coins, 2 coins, Page of Coins. Okay, so if you attempt to stay at the current job, ask for the hours back on the schedule and get things going there again, Knight of Coins indicates here's your pursuit of money, right? That's what we do. We work for money, and it's moving very slowly. With Temperance, this, I think, in this context, is you're needing to be flexible. And flexibility can be great, but if you're talking about not having enough hours, um, stability and flexibility might go against one another here, right? It's like you're trying to mix the right concoction to get what you need, but they're asking you to be flexible. And I think often in employer terms, flexible means not enough hours. The Pope, this is the person who's in charge and who has the capacity, like your boss, I think, who has the capacity to bless your request, right? What is the Pope looking at? Well, they're looking at 6 swords. So I wouldn't think that this is going to turn out in a way where like you get all the hours that you want, like that they restore the 20 hours that you are missing, and that you're getting sort of everything you'd hoped for. If we'd seen some coins or even some batons or maybe even cups at the end of this, then I might say so. But 6 swords, as I said a moment ago in another reading, is a difficult path to tread. It can mean going backwards as opposed to forwards. It can mean it can even mean going in the wrong direction, right? So these cards, I think, are saying that the trying to get the 20 hours back is probably not gonna happen, which doesn't mean you couldn't ask, right? But it's not like the Pope is blessing giving you more money. Instead, what they're blessing, so to speak, is a tough path, right? So these 3 cards are indicating the option if you were to leave and then presumably look for another job. And it's all about money, right? Which is no surprise because we've got coins, 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 and this is a work question. So 8 coins, this is like the funds that you would have at the moment. And likely your need to be careful with them, cautious with them, to organize your money, to be prudent about your spending. And there's a fairly quick decrease from 8 to 2, right? So like instead of the 8 coins, now you've got 2. So leaving the job would would obviously leave you with less money than you had before. Um, with the page of coins, though, then we've got a new beginning, right? Pages are starting off on something new, and this page is picking up his coin and looking at it and trying to decide what to do with it and how to invest it and all of that kind of stuff. So, um, you have to choose for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you think about your options. Um, in the short term, you would likely have some financial um, concerns to think about if you leave the current job, right? Because there's less money here than there was before. Um, but then you would have the opportunity to sort of pick up a new interest and get started going again, building your reserve of coins. So, you have to decide for yourself what you think um, is best for you. And let me just look at the chat. They cut everybody's hour. Oh, I read that. Everybody's super impressed with me over there, and they're all nice to me. So I don't want to leave it. But if it comes to that, yeah. Um, and you said not happen, but we'll ask. Like they're maybe not inclined to give you the 20 hours, but you're going to ask. I don't see how it could hurt to ask, especially if your alternative is to just leave, right? Um, yeah, I'm just looking over this to see if there's any other detail I could add. Um, the only other thing I can think is up here with the Pope is it might be the kind of thing where they say, well, that's the rules, right? Like we have to be fair to everybody, or that's the way it's written, or I'm just following orders, that kind of thing, right? Because the Pope, who again I would read as your boss or management or whoever it might be, um, they're just kind of doing their job, or at least from their perspective, that's what's happening. And so it might be the kind of thing where they point to the book and say, um, I have to follow protocol. I have to do things by the book. I have to do it as written. I didn't make the rules, but here they are. And um, so that you might get that kind of a response. Like they might even say, I'd love to give you the 20 hours, but you just need to be flexible because I need to, I'm I'm the Pope, I'm not God, right? Like I don't make the rules, but I do sort of enforce them. Oh, and happy birthday on Monday, Jazz Ziggy Pie. I hope you have a wonderful birthday. Well, everyone, I think I'm going to call it a night. Thank you so much for being here. This has been one of the best live streams I think I've ever done on my channel. I really appreciate all the engagement, all of the questions. I'm so glad you've all been so civil and nice in the chat. I really appreciate that. I can trust you guys. Thanks for your likes. Consider subscribing if you like what I'm doing here. That will help motivate me to keep going and keep doing it. Um, and if I wasn't able to read for you today, I'd be happy to read for you at some point in the future. And for those of you that I did read for, I look forward to reading for you again. Thanks so much. Again, I'm Will, and this is the Hermit's Lantern Tarot. And be kind to each other, stay well, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.